For more now on the First Minister's meeting, we're joined by the Premier of Prince Edward Island, Rob Lantz. Premier, thank you for taking the time.
No problem. Glad to be here.
So you walked into this meeting this morning talking about energy security being the top priority for your province. I didn't hear a reference to that from the Prime Minister in the closing press conference. Was this still a successful meeting for your province?
Yeah, it was, and there was certainly a lot of discussion about energy transmission throughout the day and throughout our discussions. It's a big part of a lot of the projects that were advanced and discussed here today, from Quebec to the north, across western provinces. All of our energy security concerns are well shared, and it was certainly a focus of our discussions. Yeah.
So part of the discussions, but we'll see what happens with it. But, going in as well, of course, internal trade and barriers around that has always been an issue. The final communique talks about support about getting rid of those internal barriers, but you've identified the levies at the Confederation Bridge and ferries being a barrier, and you've asked the Prime Minister to drop those fees. Where is that right now?
Well, yeah, I didn't discuss that directly today. We had other issues that we want to advance, but as you know, we spent a lot of time before and throughout the election advocating to reduce the tolls on the Confederation Bridge and the ferry to Nova Scotia, and the federal government made a commitment to do that. So I was in Ottawa last week. I spoke with Minister LeBlanc, Minister Freeland. They are still fully committed to that. They're advancing that. They're having discussions with the private operator of the Confederation Bridge. It's a little complicated. It may not happen as quickly as we like, but we feel it's something that can happen probably by the end of the year. It's very important. Prince Edward Island's got a connected economy with the mainland, more so than ever. People and goods across the Confederation Bridge and the ferry on a daily basis for personal and for business reasons, and those tolls are a huge burden to trade and economic relationships with our neighbouring provinces in Atlantic Canada.
Burden to trade, although we should also point out that you've signed an agreement now with Ontario to drop trade barriers. What do you hope is the result? What happens with that deal for your province?
Well, yeah, we were I believe the second province in the country to get our trade bill through our legislature, interprovincial trade and labour mobility. So we've just signed the first MOU with Ontario. We expect to sign with additional provinces. The labour mobility part of that initiative is important, very important for us. Labour mobility. Prince Edward Island, we're real challenged with labour in various sectors. So, of course, if we can draw upon resources from neighbouring provinces across the country, it's going to be a win for everybody. So we're excited about that and glad to start signing MOUs.
Now, you are one of the two newer premiers around the table. How would you describe the energy amongst your colleagues and around the issues at stake here?
Well, I think you've heard from other premiers and probably the Prime Minister as well that there was a lot of enthusiasm, unity, positivity. As you said, I haven't been around that long, but those who have described this as the most positive First Minister's meeting they've attended, and I think that's well deserved. That's how I felt. I feel like we are all working together. There's no conflict that I'm aware of. We want to advance our projects that advance the interests of this country as a whole.
So the Prime Minister talked about naming projects perhaps by the summer. What do you hope is the result of that?
Well, I hope that there's a broad scope of national projects that lifts this country's economic development as a whole. But personally, in our region, we're having real issues with energy availability and reliability as part of a broader Eastern energy partnership that we outlined today. I think that Prince Edward Island stands to benefit from that. Our economy has been growing very rapidly. In fact, in 2024, our economic development outpaced the entire country, all provinces in the country, and so we hope to continue that. But the critical path there is energy infrastructure to keep that growth continuing into the future. So this is the Eastern Energy Partnership is something that we really want to advance and secure our future.
Premier Lantz, really good to meet you. I look forward to more conversations in the future. Thank you for this.
Thanks very much, Michael.